Hi guys, Rick Stevens here. Today I want to talk to you about PTSD. Should I be ashamed? The reason I'm coming forward to you guys today is I've recently been diagnosed with PTSD, and I want to bring some awareness to it for us in public safety that normally see it daily in other people and recognize it, but we don't recognize it in ourselves. So a little about myself. I've got close to 20 years as a paramedic firefighter. I work for a small volunteer service as a fire chief, as well as a large progressive 911 service here in the Houston, Texas area. I've spent 8 years as a combat medic and about 2 years in air medical as a flight medic. Reason I tell you all this is because I want to let you know that I've been involved in multiple aspects of the EMS and fire side, not so much law enforcement, but I've experienced quite a bit that has brought me to my diagnosis of PTSD, and I think that I can help hopefully somebody else. So there's two forms of PTSD that are pretty common. There's first a more simple PTSD, which is a one-time incident, such as loss of a loved one. Somebody was involved in a car wreck that ended up with tragedy, or just scared. They saw something that is not usual in their life. This is typically seen more in our civilian side. However, in the public safety side, EMS, fire, law enforcement, military, we see it on a daily basis and takes on more of a form of a complex PTSD. Now, mind you, I am not no expert in these fields, so what I'm telling you today is what I have learned and what I've done to bring more awareness to it. To get more information, you're going to want to log on, maybe do some research, speak to a physician, speak to a professional in this field, not me. But so what I want to talk about is the fact that people are afraid and they're ashamed to come forward. They're afraid of ridicule. They're afraid that if they talk to somebody about issues that they're having, that they may lose their job. They may lose their right to carry arms. I've heard that one quite a few times. I used that one quite a few times. They're afraid that, they're going to make themselves look weaker. But it's not. The problem is you need to seek some help. So some of the signs and symptoms that I have researched and I have myself experienced is nightmares, night sweats, irritability, anger, outbursts, heavy drinking, inability to sleep, sleeping too much, chronically sick, loss of things that you typically enjoyed, things like that. That's just to name a few. Myself, I started out for the last few years having night sweats. I would wake up the last year and a half just soaking wet. And for a long time I told my wife I was just having nightmares, or I thought that I was having, just hot flashes. And I left it at that. Not realizing that until later on that every time I had these nightmares that involved calls that I'd been on, I was waking up in a cold sweat, with those wet sheets wet. Then I was not sleeping well. So, these are one of the first signs that I noticed. Other signs that I had were I started having some flashbacks. I would smell certain things and it would remind me of something. A couple years ago, I had a car wreck that involved quite a few kids and quite a few fatalities. And I happened last year to drive past this wreck, or the site for this wreck. And as I drove past, I just could smell the blood, the airbag dust, the common smells you smell at a wreck scene, the heat. And I just had this horrible flashback of everything that was happening. And I was like, just breathe in, breathe out, move forward, Rick, keep on driving. You know, it scared me. I hadn't had this issue before. As I continued to drive, within about 5 miles down the road, I was having flashbacks of all these other people that had died throughout my career. I've heard the jokes, or I've heard of people, you know, we see it in some of these movies where they have these huge flashbacks, like they're actually reliving it. I didn't have those kind of flashbacks, that I was kind of reliving it. I would have those in dreams, but these type of flashbacks were just all of a sudden pictures of different people that I remember how they died or what they looked like when they died were popping across my memory, to the point that I had to pull over, shaking like a leaf, had to sit for a few minutes and calm down. Talked a couple people about it, you know, some of my friends, or one of my friends and my wife, and a couple of my firemen, and just kind of, you know, pushed it off as it being nothing. But it was the first sign that I had some issues going on. So as my life has gone, let me start with that. I was born with cystic fibrosis, which is a chronic lung condition. It is terminal. So throughout my childhood and as I got older, I, you know, had questions as to what is going on with me, when am I going to die, what's, you know, going to happen. And yeah, I still have those questions. I do wonder how long I have yet. However, I wanted to do some kind of good in my life. That good ended up turning out to be me being a paramedic firefighter. I wanted to help people, and so I got into the field of helping people. However, with working with people daily and working in the field of work that we do, we see a lot of tragedy. I'm not going to say one public safety person sees more than the other, because there's no way to describe it. One may see 3 people die in a year, and one may see 100 people die in a year. They're both going to take the effects of it differently. But regardless, each one of them has seen some kind of tragedy when they saw that. And some, as I said, people handle it differently. I handled it myself when I had some bad calls. My way of handling it was drinking. Started out, you know, me and the friends, you know, me and the old co-workers, hey, we're going to go get a brew, drink a couple beers at the bar, and that's it. And it started out that way, and for a couple of years I was fine. Then I started drinking heavier and started having little issues that I didn't really realize, up until the last couple of years, where I started drinking a lot heavier. Started feeling like I needed it as a crutch to get me through. It helped me sleep. It helped me feel better while I was drinking. However, as I was pushing those thoughts away and getting rid of everything that I wasn't wanting to remember, it was coming back out later those nights when I was drinking and getting heavier into the alcohol. To the point that I'd black out, and some of you guys know what that is. You black out and you wake up the next day and you don't remember nothing. However, my wife and my friends, you know, they got to, unfortunately, deal with these. It included some, started with fights, arguing, just stumbling around, and it was a joke, to the point that they started telling me things that I was doing and saying, Rick, you know, this isn't normal, this isn't acceptable. I'd get to anger outbursts, yell and shout, and to the point of hitting things, wanting to start fights. My friends and family, you know, that are close to me were telling me, Rick, you need to get help. You're crazy, you know. You know, it's more than just the alcohol. You need to get taken care of. You need to get treated. And I told them, I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. You know, if I go get help, I'm going to have to deal with, you know, reporting that, and I'm not going to be able to carry a weapon anymore, and I won't be able to do a lot of things that I enjoy, and I'm afraid I'll lose my job. These are the kind of things that I start having issues with. When somebody tells you that you're stupid, that you're getting too drunk, that they're noticing some changes in you need to listen to them. They see you better than you see you. They see the changes happening. It may be your employer, it may be your best friend, it may be your kids, it may be your wife or your family or your parents or some other loved one. They may say, hey, I see something different in you, or you need to go get help. Go get the help while you have it, all right? You need to start looking at, what did I do? What am I doing? Why am I acting this way? And really dig into what may be the issue. There is obviously something going on that they see, but you may not actually see it yet. It may not have come out yet. You may think everything's fine, but it's slowly building up to it being something that's not fine. And it's going to end up having detrimental results. My goal is, by telling you about these things and telling you about my story, that you guys will realize it's okay to get help. I was ashamed. Don't get me wrong. I was embarrassed. I did not want to get help. I love to tell everybody everything about my life. You can ask anybody that knows me. However, this is the one thing that I hid from everybody, because this showed a sign of weakness to me. And it is a sign of weakness. But what's even more weak is keeping it to yourself. Because the end result is you're going to ruin your life. You're going to destroy your family. You're going to destroy yourself. You're going to lose everything. You may lose your job. You may end up in jail. You may end up dead. You may end up committing suicide. I don't want that for you. Nobody wants that for you. I've seen recently in reports statistically, in 2019, law enforcement and military had the highest suicide rate right now. I know quite a few friends in both those fields, along with EMS and fire, that have committed suicide this year, and none of them showed any signs beforehand. Nobody would ever thought it was coming. All right, we're good at hiding our feelings. We're good at putting things aside. But you need to start looking. If you start noticing yourself, you're more irritable, you're more tired, you start crying, or you just can't get those thoughts out of your head. You notice your heart start racing. We have that adrenaline rush that we get, that fight or flights, right? Okay, you get that when we go on those 911 calls when the tones drop and you got that motor vehicle wreck with bodies everywhere. Your adrenaline starts pumping, okay? And you know what that feels like. Your heart starts racing, you get that little twinge in your stomach. I was having those when there was no tones going off, when there was nothing. I was just driving down the road. This was one of the first signs of anxiety that I didn't ever realize I was having. Because, again, we don't have anxiety, right, guys? We don't have issues because we're in public safety. Growing up, when I first got in EMS in 99, 2000, a lot of the older guys, they taught me a lot. But where the step back is when they would say, hey, when you get off that call, suck it up, move on, don't let it bother you. And you save what you can and let God sort out the rest, okay? We've all heard that. As the years have gone by, we realize that is not the case. Unfortunately, a lot of people, a lot of public safety people in general do that. And then next thing you know, you hear that Johnny Smith committed suicide, and well, Johnny Smith was at work yesterday smiling, having a good time. What changed? Nothing changed. He's been fighting this. He just kept it to himself and didn't want anybody else to see what's going on. Until he finally met his breaking point. It could have been just a simple call. It could have been a trigger of something he heard, saw, did. A few years ago, I had a bad car wreck that involved another child, and I knew her, and she died. And after that, I kind of secluded myself for a little while and got into drinking and thought I had taken care of that. Come to find out, that was not the case. That I held a lot closer to me, and you guys know kids always bother everybody. But you may have those type of trigger points, when you drive past a certain thing. You may drive past an old scene or a house or hear a sound or see something that becomes a trigger, and it brings back a memory of a certain call. All right, it's okay to remember the call. It's not okay to dwell on it and just try to fight it yourself. You got people here to help you. I didn't realize how bad I was until I got the help. Since I got the help, I feel 100 times better. You know, I'm on medications to help me sleep, to help with anxiety, to help me fight with the PTSD. I feel my life is getting back on track finally. I don't have the cravings for alcohol. I'm able to move forward. Sadly, I've lost the most things that are dear to me and the things that I love most, which and are the most important to me, which were my family and some of my friends. I've been alienated by some, including my stepkids, with no blame to them, because of my actions. They don't want to be around me. So I've had to work through that and try to work to build their trust back up. Hopefully I can do that. You know, my wife and I separated so I could go get help. And sadly, you know, one of the first things she noticed was that things were peaceful at the house after I was gone. So, you know, it was a relationship that she doesn't want, and I can't blame her. I put, you know, my friends and my family through a lot of things, and I'm hoping that by watching this video that you can get the help you need before it's too late and something happens like that to you. Guys, this is an epidemic. PTSD is hitting full blown, and we're catching it way too late. You know, I really want to work toward putting together some kind of online support group. I want to do some more videos, maybe get some other people involved to talk about their situation. Once I came out with what was wrong with me and said, hey, I got an issue, and was honest with myself, I went and got anger management, which really helped, spent a lot of money, and they didn't tell me a whole lot, but what they told me was what took to get me on the right path. I've had legal issues because of this that I've had to deal with. You know, not including just the regular emotional things that come into play, and the emotional distress that I put on other people because of my actions. And all because I didn't want to get help. But there is hope at the tunnel, all right? There is hope. You just need to look forward. You need to realize you got a need for help, or that you need to get help, and get that help. You know, I started talking to some of my coworkers on the ambulance, and found out as I was talking to them, you know, I threw a little keywords here and there to see if it triggered any conversation. And surprisingly, it triggered a lot of conversation. And I found out that I wasn't alone. And they found out they weren't alone. Everybody that I talked to thought that they were the only ones dealing with these type of issues. The issues with, you know, drinking, anger, having issues in the family life, depression, nightmares, you know, you name it, they have it. And I realized that, you know, even though we have programs like the EAP that can help you through your job, and I have friends that would have been supportive and employers that are supportive, that the issue isn't that they are supportive. The issue is I didn't want to get help. I didn't think I had to get help. I didn't think I needed help, and I did. These people realized they needed help that I've spoken to. Some of them had already started on their journey of getting help on their own. Some of them are working toward it, and we've talked together, and we're working together to get through this. I don't want to see anybody else commit suicide or lose everything over something that can be so easily fixed. You need to focus. You need to realize, take a look at yourself. If you are having issues, some of the signs and symptoms I told you about, you can read more about it online, get professional help, speak to people. Realize you got something going on and get the help you need now. Don't wait. Don't think you have to be strong and hold it in, all right? We all feel that way, trust me. And there is no reason for that. Believe it or not, we're all here to support you. And we're about to hopefully start an online group, and I'd like to be able to maybe set up some personal groups. I mean, I want this video to go out everywhere we can. The United States, overseas, I don't care. If it helps one person and helps them think twice before doing something, I want them to do it. I want them to see this. Hopefully we'll have more, like I said, videos in the future. You can contact me at rick.pevfd@gmail.com. You can look me up on Facebook. Instant message me. If you got questions, you need help, you need somebody to talk to, I'm here for you. I will help you. I'll help guide you in the right direction. I'm getting resources together to help get people in the direction they need, whether it be for anger, drinking, PTSD, and get you to the right people to get the help that you need. I love all y'all. God bless you. Be safe out there, and we'll see you next time.